Well, welcome back, and some of you may have seen that I've been doing some carving on a new signboards for Talitha. I got these gouges, they're new. I've only stropped them, and they haven't been sharpened, and they're not working as great as I would like them to. So let's go through a quick sharpening video on how to sharpen curved gouges. Okay, so not sure if you can see, but they're not very flat on the back. There's some grind marks. They're fairly polished, not a high polish, but they're flat or fairly flat on the inside. And as you can see, I got a bit of a cutting edge going, although this one's wore out. Let's just go through how to touch these up and sharpen them initially, which I should have done when I unpacked them, and then how to give them a quick touch up as we use them on our carving projects. Okay, so what am I going to use to sharpen them? I don't have a lot of curved stones, but I have my diamond plate 300 and 1000. The 300 I generally just use to flatten my water stones. I have a 3000 and an 8000 water stone. Obviously, I've got my leather strop, and any piece of leather will do as long as you have some honing compound to go with it. So an old belt, an old handbag of your partner's. Also, to help take off the burr that we make, I have a 1000 and an 8000 slipstone. So it's got some curves in it, and that will help on the inside to both sharpen, polish, and remove the burr. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've soaked my water stones for a couple minutes. They're man-made ones. Going to start with the 1000 grit because new from the factory, my gouges, which are Nerex brand from Czechoslovakia, aren't too bad. So just put a bit of window cleaner or some soapy water onto the diamond stone. This is the 1000 grit. And basically, you want to smooth this back end just like a chisel, and also a smaller cutting edge. And this one is fairly sharp. It's the one that is in the best shape out of the three. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the bevel, try to get 2 fingers on it, and basically I'm just resting the rest of the chisel in my hand. And I'm just going to stroke back and forth on the diamond stone. You can use an oil stone or a water stone. I just prefer the diamond plates. They last a lot longer. I'm going to go back and forth, maybe 30 or 40 strokes, and what I want to do is get a clean edge, nice and smooth from one end to the other, and have a flat tip. So if we give this a quick wipe, we take a look. Not sure if you can see, but it is definitely getting smoother and flatter on the edge. So that's pretty good. I've definitely got a fine cutting edge, a bit of a mirrored polish, and I smoothed out maybe 80 to 90% from here to here, and I missed the far edges. So let's give it a bit more, find our bevel angle. Takes a little bit to get used to because it's different from a flat chisel, although it is very similar. You'll pick it up fairly quickly. And can feel a burr forming on the inside. Give this a little bit of a wipe. A little bit more to go, but almost there. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I can feel a bit of a burr. I'm going to take my 1000 stone and just rub the burr off on the inside. And no burr on the outside, and that's good. There's a very small polished edge. The back is flat. The inside, I'm not sure if you can tell, the inside is also flat and has a slight polished edge. So we'll move on to our 3000 water stone. I just used some soapy water to keep this lubricated. And basically, what we're going to do is the same thing. Try to use the whole stone so we don't have a cup in it. You can buy stones that are curved like your gouges and just run them back and forth. Another method, of course, is like a normal chisel. Just go back and forth and slightly rotate as you go. The thing that concerns me most with using water stones versus diamond plates is chipping the water stone, and you can tell on some of my stones I do have some chips. Okay, that's getting fairly highly polished. Give it a bit more fluid and lube, and a few more strokes. Again, 30 to 40 strokes. Only takes a couple minutes, new out of the box, and then you'd rarely come back to the stone unless you dropped it on the floor or you haven't maintained it by stropping your chisels with use. And really, we should strop our gouges versus our chisels, but our chisels as well. Probably every 5 minutes or so while you're using it. Take a good 20-30 seconds, maintain the sharp edge, and they'll work great for you, and you won't have to come back to the stones very often. Maybe once a year. Reestablish the bevels. Depends how much use. Okay, we definitely have a very polished edge. Feel a bit of a bevel. I'm just going to do some final, slightly higher on the cutting edge, and then we'll move to the 8,000 stone. Okay, not sure if you can see, it's definitely much more polished, and has a very nice edge on the end. And I can definitely feel a bevel inside. So I'm going to take the 1,000 stone again. I'm going to give this just a bit of fluid, and I'm going to draw my gouge along it to remove that wire edge that we created. And I can feel that it's almost gone. Use a small edge and rotate it around to remove that wire edge. You can feel that the wire edge is gone. It's nice and polished. Feels very sharp. Let's move on to our 8,000 grit stone. Give it a bit more lubrication. And same process again. Just rotating back and forth. Final polish. Across the stone, getting edge to edge or ear to ear on your gouge. I'll lift it slightly and do the cutting edge polish. I'll probably do this 30 or 40 times. Takes a minute or less depending on how fast you are. You get some good muscle memory doing hand sharpening, so you can maintain the bevels fairly easily. Yeah, that's looking good. You can feel the slightest, very slightest wire edge forming. Don't get much of a wire edge, and sometimes it just breaks off as you go, particularly on the 8,000 grit stones. And wipe slightest of wire edges, and I'll take this off with my 8,000 grit slipstone. Okay, so I'm not sure how much you can see. It's flat, polished, and shiny inside and out, and flat across the edge. Okay, so final step, use our strop. Just load this up with honing compound. And instead of the rocking motion, I'm just going to pull the gouge away from me and slowly rotate it as I go. And this is all I do while I'm using the gouge while carving. Just every 5 minutes or so, I'll stop, take a minute, do this. You can see the metal coming off the black, getting nice and polished. I'll do the whole bevel, and I'll raise it up slightly to do the final edge. And we're up to a mirrored finish. So for the inside, if I had a belt or another piece of leather, I would use that. Right now, what I'm going to do is just load the edge of my strop and just pull it along. Not ideal, but it does work. Just to give a final polish of the inside. One of the things you can do is use your gouge itself, gouge through some wood, and then wrap a piece of leather around it, or just take a flexible piece of leather. I only have one mounted to a block right now, and just run it like this. So pretty happy with that one. I've got 2 more to go, but let's take a quick look at how well I did and how sharp this is compared to if you watch my carving videos when it wasn't sharp. Okay, we just got a piece of scrap pine, throw it in the vise here. Grab our newly sharpened gouge. That's looking good. Simply much easier. Go across the grain. And not that I do it very often or ever. This would be your quickest way to create a spoon. Obviously very small right now with this gouge, but using a bigger gouge. Even going across the grain, and got some rising grain here, and this gouge is doing just fine. And so there you have it. Quick, easy way to set up your gouges from new, or if you get an old one from a estate sale or a garage sale. And to maintain them, just use that stropping method, like I said, every sort of 5 minutes or so of use, and that will keep them razor sharp. Hey, so thanks for tuning in and watching this quick update video. Next week, we should have some footage of sailing in Moreton Bay here in Brisbane, Australia. And I'll be packing up what consists of this workshop to move back to Melbourne and back to Talitha in the next couple weeks. Also, as a bonus video, I'll leave a link below, or you can do a quick search. We did the 3-day trek of the Rootburn Track in New Zealand. Got back last weekend, and although it's a bit long, I'll upload that video in case any of you are interested, although most of you are interested in either tools, woodworking, or restoring wooden boats. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and if you do like these videos, then please consider liking and subscribing. Hit the little bell icon, you'll get notified when I do a new upload, and feel free to share across Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media platforms you have, or amongst your friends. It really does help out the channel. Subscribers have gone up significantly in the last few weeks, and that's great. So hopefully I'll hit 100, and then when we get back to the boat for 2020, hopefully we'll see what happens. Let's aim for 1,000 by the end of 2020. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you again soon.